Okay, greetings again. Now that we have learned some right brain techniques for pre-writing, now we're going to cover some left brain techniques. First left brain technique is brainstorming. And brainstorming is simply making a list of items related to your topic or story or whatever subject you're writing on. You just simply write a list. Again, the ideas randomly occur from your mind, come from your subconscious mind to the subconscious, but still you're just making a list. It's more of an orderly way of generating ideas. The list doesn't have to make sense to anyone else, only to you. Now, what I'd like you to do is pause the video and take some time and brainstorm whatever occurs to your mind. Like I said, the thoughts can randomly occur and occur spontaneously, just like in the free writing exercise. But go ahead and take about 5 minutes and fill up a sheet of paper with ideas for a brainstorm. Okay, now the second left brain pre-writing technique that we're going to learn is called interviewing. And you've probably heard this in some form or the other before. But it's simply asking yourself questions about the subject you want to write about. Let's say hypothetically I want to write about this class. I might start answering these prompts, at least 6 or 7 of them. Who am I writing about? This class and myself are the word racing. Myself and the class are the subject of the paper. It usually helps to write these in complete sentences to give you a more definite and concrete idea of what you're going to write about, especially for short papers of about less than 5 pages. What am I going to write about? I'm writing about this class and how it may fare. Just speculative. You don't have to know everything about your subject. Where am I writing about? Claflin University's Claflin University is the site here in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Why am I writing about this class at Claflin University? I am teaching an online class to you. When am I writing about it? Well, the date of this video is the spring of 2013. Today is April 29th, 2013. Now, how am I writing about this class? I write an expectation of a great future teaching and learning English with you. How much of the subject am I writing about? Let's see. Off the top of my head. I'm writing about this semester's class. How often? Now, like I said, some of these questions may not be applicable to your subject, but you should be able to answer at least 6 or 7 of these prompts to get a general idea of how to restrict your topic to make it specific enough to cover in a short college paper. But let me go ahead and try to stretch your imagination and answer the last prompt. Let's see. Let us hope to communicate about the class at least 3 times a week. Now, I've answered all these in complete sentences. You don't necessarily have to answer them in complete sentences. You can answer them in fragments as long as you address each of these prompts. And when you get ready to write your thesis statement, which is the main idea of your essay, you'll be able to incorporate pieces of these into that main thesis to make it narrow and specific and precise and exactly what should be the topic of a short essay. Okay, now the third left brain pre-writing technique we're going to cover is cubing. And it's called cubing because like a cube has 6 sides, this process has 6 steps to it. And the first step would be describing your subject. That is, what does your subject look like? What size, colors, or textures does it have? In terms of sensory imagery, taste, smell, sight, sound, touch. Describe your subject in all the sensory details possible. The second step of the cubing process is to compare or contrast your subject to something. What is your subject similar to? What is it different from? In what ways is it different from the other subject or similar to the other subject? List as many differences and similarities between the thing that you are comparing your subject to. The third technique is to free associate your subject. with just randomly, like in the pre-writing process called Prewriting, randomly associate your subject with as many thoughts as possible. What sort of thoughts or ideas does your subject evoke in your mind? What memories does it conjure up? What ideas does your subject conjure up? Fourth step would be to analyze your subject. How does your subject work? What are the parts of your subject? What are the components of your subject? What is the significance of your subject? Break it down and analyze it. The fifth step, argue for your subject or against it. What are your subject's strengths or benefits? What are its detriments or weaknesses? Why are those strengths and weaknesses relevant? And finally, apply your subject to some situation. What are the uses of your subject? What can you do with your subject? Okay, I would like you to take about 10 minutes and answer the questions to the cubing technique. After you finish, please upload your answers, log on to the discussion, and we'll talk about these processes, both left brain and right brain, further. Thank you.